These packs have put on the miles. We visit the oldest canvas and leather pack making company in the U.S., Duluth Pack. Plus, it's one of the most important pieces of gear when camping, and it only weighs 1 pound. We get comfy in the Revelation from Enlightened Equipment.
People are passionate about outdoor equipment. Get this, Americans spend more than $20 billion a year on gear. But no one ever really sees how their stuff gets made.
Well, that's where we come in. Each week, we throw open the factory doors and give you a behind-the-scenes look at how your favorite gear is made.
Made for the outdoors.
Lake Superior's North Shore is known for its beautifully rugged cliffs. The city of Duluth sits here, nestled between the rocky shore and Minnesota's North Woods. Nothing makes me happier than being outdoors, and whether it's hiking or camping, my Duluth Pack's going to accompany me on all my summertime adventures. Let's see how it's made for the outdoors. The Deluxe Roll Top Scout Pack is a hiking pack, camping pack, and everyday pack all in one.
The bags, especially that we make for the Boundary Waters, are probably what we're most well known for in the outdoor world. And we see those passed down for generations and generations.
Duluth Pack is the oldest canvas and leather pack making company in the entire U.S., dating back to 1882. These packs are what trappers used in Minnesota 150 years ago to transport furs in canoes.
So the founder of the company, Camille Poyer, back in 1882, French-Canadian, actually made the first ever canoe pack, which is a bag that was made for the Boundary Waters in northern Minnesota and in parts of Canada. He made those bags for 29 years, sold the company. We still manufacture the same bag that he patented back in 1882.
In 1911, Camille sold the patent and store. Duluth Pack moved to its current location on West Superior Street.
So the building that we're in, the current factory we're in Duluth, Minnesota, out in the west end, the building itself was built early 1900s. We've been in this building since 1911.
The factory storefront is proud of its heritage. Through the years, the quality of these packs has remained the same. But now, Duluth Pack has a much larger store, is sold internationally, and has almost 300 styles of packs and bags to choose from.
Our products last a lifetime. They become heirloom pieces for a lot of families.
This is Ryan Hansen, and Ryan, what are we going to be making today?
We're going to be looking at the Deluxe Roll Top Scout Pack. It is our best-selling style in the roll top style. It's got a leather bottom too, a little bit more durability. And the big feature that people really liked on this one is a full side zippered pocket they can get into pretty easily without having to undo the top of the bag. We've got about 50 production staff members here at our factory. It's a pretty tight-knit community. Everyone knows each other pretty well.
The cool thing about Duluth Pack is that they're handcrafted. Quality begins with material: canvas or wool and leather.
They are all the highest quality that we can find. They are all full hides, which are very, very high quality. And that's one of the reasons that we feel very, very comfortable guaranteeing everything that we do for life.
For our pack, we're going to use olive drab canvas. And the first step is picking the pattern.
All right, Lindsay, we're looking for a Deluxe Scout roll top pattern, and I'll give you a hint. It's somewhere right over here.
Oh my gosh, look at all of these. Roll top, right?
Right.
I found the Scout.
That's the regular Scout pack.
Master. Lower?
Yep, right down here.
Scout roll top.
And the top one is the Deluxe. We've got two patterns, one for the Deluxe and one for the regular, yep.
Look at all of these patterns, so crazy. You had said there's 270 plus different patterns. All right. When we come back, Matt and I kick off the relay. We'll finish our pack, and you won't want to miss the big reveal. And they take pack serious here.
We've joked before that it is Paul Bunyan's bag.
You're watching Made for the Outdoors.
Made for the Outdoors is brought to you by Magnum Research, Otter Outdoors, Ice Castle Fish Houses, Banks Outdoors, and by Walden's.
Duluth Pack celebrates 136 years of tradition in Duluth, Minnesota. And their products are handcrafted by passionate people.
It's our heart and soul. You know, we put everything into producing this product and people love it.
The Deluxe Roll Top Scout will go through 5 different departments: canvas cutting, leather cutting, sewing, riveting, and quality control. After the pattern is picked, the canvas is laid out, and it turns into Art Class 101.
It's just like art class all over again.
Matt was born and raised in Duluth and has worked here for 7 years. Since I'm the rookie and he's the pro, I get the shears and he cuts with this brew.
This one here, it's all square cut, so I can go up to probably 80 layers if I wanted to. And I could do 2 per layer, so you're talking 160 bags at one cut.
And after the canvas is cut, we then come over to the leather department, and Alex, a variety of options.
This is actually what we're going to be using on the Roll Top Deluxe Scout. So I'm going to line this up, cutting across this line.
Alex will also stamp the Duluth Pack logo into the leather patch. So check out this book. There is literally a recipe for every different pack. Gus is in charge of gathering the correct ingredients for the pack.
And that is our 3-inch Moosehead logo.
Then it's off to sewing. Typically, every pack is sewn beginning to end by one sewer. So this is Tracy, and if you couldn't tell, she brings life to the sewing room, that's for sure. They call her Queen Bee, Mama Bear around here, right?
Whatever, yeah, I answer to just about everything.
After she completes the front and the back,
And now this goes to riveting.
the riveting department is next door to sewing.
The riveting department.
The riveting department seeks inspiration through music and some interesting decorations.
So I'll put 4 hand-pounded rivets in the back of this. And end of these straps, I'm going to put machine riveted 18-inch straps. I'm going to put a 1-inch buckle. And then a 3/4-inch buckle.
Rivets add security to the bag.
This guy's all riveted and done, ready for the sewer.
Time to bring this back over to Tracy.
Now I'm going to put it together. I'm going to go to the zipper machine in a moment, and I'm going to put a zipper in this. Miss Lindsay's going to sew the leather on the bottom. Okay, just hold on to the threads.
Where's that from?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I can't fail.
So Lindsay, tell me about yourself. When did you start sewing and how long have you been doing it?
Well, as you can tell by my scalp, I haven't sewn enough. I'm concentrating. I need a straight line. Whoa, that corner over there.
Okay, it's a little crooked, but it's not bad.
Tracy makes the finishing touches look effortless. And the final inspection happens in quality control. So our pack is done. Check it out. What do you think? That's why they call it a deluxe. Just kidding. This really is our one. Oops. All jokes aside, Duluth packs have been doing the heavy lifting for backpackers, hikers, and campers all around the world. They're made for the outdoors and have been since 1882. After the break, we get cozy with Enlightened Equipment. More on this ultralight camping quilt next on Made for the Outdoors.
Made for the Outdoors is brought to you by Topper Easy Lift, Aquarius Home Services, Mulching Mania, Minnesota Trailer Manufacturing, and by Central Boiler.
Minnesota offers endless opportunities for camping, hiking, and backpacking. There's Gooseberry Falls State Park, Blue Mound State Park, the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness, and the list goes on. When camping, it's all about the experience and the adventure. I'll admit it, the only way I'm gonna rough it is if I'm comfortable. And to do that, you need quality gear. This is the Revelation quilt from Enlightened Equipment.
The quilt style sleeping bag was traditionally super popular in the ultralight crowd.
The benefit of the quilt is it's a blanket. You know how to sleep under a blanket. You do it every day. There's no learning curve. You get in it, you pull it over. When you're cold, you tuck it in. When you're hot, you open it up.
The quilt style sleeping bag has grown in popularity, not just for its weight, but for its versatility.
Enlightened Equipment started with just one guy, Tim Marshall, sewing quilts in his basement in Brighton, Michigan.
It was a nightmare. I made a mess. I broke my wife's vacuum cleaner. Got tape all over the place. I had some lessons to learn, but it was, I learned them. I think it was 2005 or 6 when I started. I had a couple friends there that I hiked with, and they gave me a hard time. My gear was bigger and heavier than theirs. I wasn't ultralight. I wasn't cool like they were.
To improve his cool factor, the avid outdoorsman set out to make his own lightweight quilt. Soon, Tim's custom quilts were a hit with all of his backpacking buddies. Tim moved to Minnesota, and Enlightened Equipment was born in Winona. This green quilt now hangs on the wall in his office as a reminder of where it all started.
It was the first time I ever made a down quilt. I made it for a guy on Backpacking Light. His handle is Raj Tallbloke. It's been 7 years in Australia in the mountains with Raj, and now I got it back. I never really expected to get something back from somebody after that kind of time and have it look like it, just got sewed yesterday. The first time I put thread to fabric, I did not imagine that we would be running, multi-million-dollar operation making backpacking gear.
Enlightened Equipment now employs more than 100 people and makes 8 different styles of ultralight camping quilts. So today we're going to focus on the Revelation quilt and see how that's made for the outdoors.
We've got about 6 different departments that it takes for the Revelation and all of our quilts to be made. So we'll walk you through that process today. There's a lot of different insulation materials out there. We use down insulation and a synthetic insulation. Our down is ethically sourced from Europe. It's a byproduct of the meat industry over there, so none of our down is a result of live plucking or anything like that. One of the really fun options that people love about choosing their quilt is all the color options. We've got about 16 different color options. All of our fabric options are nylon. It's ripstop nylon.
Customers pick their fabric, type of down, temperature, length, width, and color scheme. The first employee we met is Steve. This former Marine is skilled with the hot knife.
I get the work order,
Yep.
I look through it and see what the template is, what the colors are, and then I get to it.
We then lay out the fabric, place a wooden pattern on it. Is this in the right way or does it need to be turned around? Mark the guidelines and use the hot knife because scissors just don't cut it.
So here we have the hot knife. We use this because then it prevents fraying on the fabric. I like to start at the top and then work my way around. You can go from here down.
Okay, so I can't get in trouble here, right? Am I doing it right, or do I need to just keep going straight?
Are you pressing the trigger?
No. We gotta restart. Rookie 101 with the hot knife here. Note to self, the hot knife is only hot when you pull the trigger. And it gets pretty hot. Do you see that smoke?
Yep.
Whew. After a second swipe, our fabric is cut and ready to move to the next department. Up next, we're sewing and stuffing, and just look at all of these machines. You're watching Made for the Outdoors.
Made for the Outdoors is brought to you by Appledorn's Resort. Select Minnesota GMC dealers. Powers Machining Incorporated. And by Minnesota Horse and Hunt Club.
Hey there, I'm Bill Shirk.
And I'm Lindsay Hayes.
If you're a fan of Made for the Outdoors and want to know more about upcoming episodes, be sure to like us on Facebook.
And also follow us on Instagram for cool behind-the-scenes looks at what we're working on.
And you know what? If you've got an idea for a show, be sure to drop us a note.
The constant sound of sewing almost creates its own beat at Enlightened Equipment in Winona, Minnesota. Today we see how the seams of their 20D down Revelation quilt come to life. This Minnesota-made, ultra-light sleeping quilt is keeping thousands of backpackers and campers warm across the U.S. and internationally.
We have a group of guys going to Mount Everest, some people who are camping in Canada. We have some guys out on the West Coast who are bike packing.
There are 6 main steps to creating a quilt: cutting, sewing, baffling, top stitching, stuffing, and quality control.
All of our quilts are handmade, and it's not just one person making it. It's a large group of people making it.
In the past year alone, Enlightened Equipment has doubled in size. Just look at all the sewing machines.
The sewing process starts with guidelining. The guideliners get the materials that the cutters cut out, and they're in charge of sewing in all the different labels.
These ladies sew multiple logos on, along with the zipper and the tubes for the shot cord to go through.
Then after guidelining, you get baffling. Baffling is the most important part of it because it controls the insulation. The baffles are made of this material,
Okay.
which essentially creates like a web wall on the inside of the quilt.
Okay.
So this keeps all of the down in place. So the baffle material is sewn to the liner, and then you take the shell and you sew that to the other side of the baffle piece, and it sews the top and bottom together.
After baffling, the quilt is top stitched and prepared for stuffing. So each quilt is about 1 pound, and they make about 1,500 a month. And so can you imagine the amount of down that they go through an entire year?
Outdoor gear stores before where I've seen 12-pound bags, 8-pound bags, 6-pound bags. Most of our bags are a pound, which is super light, super light. And so the stuffing is an important job because they control the amount of down that goes in the bag. And they have to be very precise to make sure that the right amount of down gets in the bag.
Skylar's brother, Eric, teaches me the technique.
So I'm feeding the tube into the quilt and then putting it into the first baffle slot to start the stuffing process.
A scale keeps us on track, and each baffle has a correct weight.
Yep. And then once you've hit the number that you're supposed to for that baffle, you move it over to the next baffle slot.
It's inevitable. I'm going to be covered in this by the end of the day.
If they put too much down, the bag's going to be heavy, and it's going to be warmer. Or if they don't put enough in, it's going to be lighter, but it's not going to be warm enough. And so when people are ordering a 20-degree bag, we work really hard to make sure that that's exactly what they're getting.
And what makes this stuffer so powerful might just blow your mind. Some good old-fashioned leaf blowers. I had to see this in person. More than a dozen leaf blowers power the vacuums.
They came up with
the system where if you hook it up to the blowing part of a vacuum, if the air is blowing down a tube and you have a splice to that tube, the air power going past that splice causes a suction out of that smaller tube. And so that's where we kind of invented this system that's now a bunch of leaf blowers in an attic that are making these products that are being shipped around the world. Who would have thought?
A little old school, yes, but whatever gets the job done. The final step is quality control.
So we pride ourselves in making sure that every quilt that goes out the door has been looked at and that it meets the high quality standard, so that when people are on Mount Everest or they're bike packing across the United States or whatever it is that they're doing, they don't have to worry about whether or not their gear is going to function, because we've had a dozen people worry about it for them and make sure that it gets it out the door and they can enjoy the use of it.
This is one of the most important pieces of gear when camping, and it only weighs 1 pound. Made in Minnesota and made for the outdoors. I don't really think I can fit. I gotta kind of shuffle down the lane, I think.